Your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. A woman is lucky to be alive after firefighters rescued her from a burning home in Mayfield. It's still not known what triggered the blaze, which incinerated the property just after 2:30 this morning.
With its roof reduced to nothing and the walls blackened, it's hard to imagine being inside the inferno that gutted this Mayfield home. But with a life on the line, inside the inferno was where firefighters had to be.
They thought they heard noises of someone yelling out, and upon getting further into the house, they've found an occupant in one of the rear bedrooms.
A woman was quickly pulled to safety from a window. Firefighters have thanked neighbours who raised the alarm.
That person is very lucky to be alive, given the intensity of the fire and the damage done to the house.
The woman, aged in her 50s, was brought to the Launceston General Hospital in a stable condition, and despite putting themselves in harm's way, fortunately none of the firefighters were injured. Although one other person was treated for smoke inhalation. By late morning, the job went to investigators to find answers in the ashes. It's not known if the property had working smoke alarms, but firefighters are still pushing the message to install them and check them. As for claims the crew are heroes,
that's what we do, so good on them. That's a great outcome.
Police are now investigating the incident. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
North Hobart residents were forced from their homes this morning after a car crash caused a dangerous gas leak. The vehicle careered into the fence of a Smith Street property, fracturing an underground pipe in the process.
A minor crash creating a dangerous situation. The piece on a side street in North Hobart, interrupted by the hiss of flammable gas escaping. Emergency services called to the scene just before midday after a driver is believed to have accidentally accelerated into a fence, rupturing a gas valve. Residents were immediately evacuated, while police cordoned off parts of a footpath on the neighbouring Brooker Highway.
We gather information, make sure the scene's safe before we commit any of our members. Police quickly evacuate local residents. Fortunately, this type of gas will dissipate in the wind.
Fire crews eventually moved the damaged vehicle away from the scene. The driver was assessed by paramedics, but walked away uninjured.
The gas installation will be repaired and the owners will have their gas back on. No injuries, everyone's okay, and it's a successful outcome.
Gas supplies were cut off in the street and neighbouring areas to prevent the risk of an explosion. Crews were on hand this afternoon, trying to repair the broken valve.
The actual pipe wasn't severed, it was just a valve on the end of the installation, so we were able to easily isolate it.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Police have made a Treetop arrest at a protest in the Tarkine this afternoon. Officers were forced to scale the tree after 21-year-old Josh Nichols allegedly refused to come down from his platform.
You can see the police are climbing up to come get me because it's illegal for me to be up here.
He was charged with 1 count of trespass and will appear in the Hobart Magistrates Court in December. Protesters who allegedly blocked the exits of State Parliament yesterday have been charged. Extinction Rebellion activists started by rallying outside Parliament and the Government Executive Building. Police say some were given a formal direction to move from blocking vehicle exits but failed to obey. 13 adults were arrested and charged with failing to comply with a lawful direction of a police officer. 7 youths were also taken into custody. Police say the minors have been unconditionally discharged from custody and they'll be dealt with under youth justice laws. More protest actions are planned. A 20-year-old Victorian man who was caught with ecstasy in his underpants at Hobart Airport has avoided jail time. A Supreme Court judge today saying Samuel Adrian Webb's behaviour was out of control but took into account his youth. Reporter Ruby Kamain has this report.
Samuel Adrian Webb faced sentencing here at the Supreme Court today in a result that could see him avoid jail time. The court heard in February he was at Hobart Airport trying to buy a ticket to Melbourne after partying for days in Hobart. Prosecutors say he was acting suspiciously and twitching involuntarily, saying a police search found 19 MDMA tablets in his underwear and more than $2,000 in cash. Last month, Webb pleaded guilty to 1 count of trafficking in a controlled substance. Justice Gregory Geeson today saying Webb's behaviour was out of control, saying he exhibited a good deal of immaturity. The justice saying there's a need for general deterrence. But he considered Webb's youthfulness, lack of prior convictions and willingness to cooperate with police when handing down the sentence. The 20-year-old will now have to serve 100 hours of community service, with a 12-month prison sentence wholly suspended on the condition of no convictions for 3 years.
The state government is continuing to face the fallout from a damning report into the Ashley Youth Detention Centre. As well as the suitability of the facility, authorities are also facing questions over who tried to censor critical sections of the report.
Ashley Youth Detention Centre still in the spotlight today after a damning report released yesterday showed the facility's failings.
It entails a number of recommendations where there are key ways that we can further improve the Ashley facility, and indeed that aligns with our commitment to invest more.
Parts of the report attempted to be censored by being blacked out, but could still be read, revealing issues with CCTV monitoring, the security of the boundary fence and visitor screening. Calls for the government to reveal whether it was the Minister's office that tried to censor those sections.
There's no privacy issues there in the redactions. This is not about protecting the identity of young people. It is an exercise in arse covering and it's shameful.
The suitability of Ashley now in the spotlight. The Children's Commissioner says there needs to be a move away from detention unless it's a last resort.
We need to see more of those early interventions and diversionary programs, as well as things like bail supports, including accommodation, so that we can see less people in our youth detention system.
The government is committed to the facility, investing millions of dollars into upgrades.
The focus really is on the recommendations, how we can look at the report, assess the report and improve the way that Ashley is managed.
Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
Wildlife officers are continuing to investigate a video involving a wombat and are warning these pictures are distressing. It showed a bloodied wombat on the front of a car after a person brags about punching it. Earlier this week, Dipipwi reported a male youth was assisting with inquiries. Now the department says another 2 men are also providing assistance. With FOMA only 3 months away, organisers have released the lineup of artists set to perform. The festival, now in its 3rd year in Launceston, promises to surprise and excite audiences with a new show planned for Cataract Gorge.
FOMA is cementing its position in the north of the state, with the curtain rising on the 2020 lineup this morning. The event is expected to draw record crowds, thanks to a long list of national and international acts to choose from.
We have the largest number of performances that we've ever had in FOMA, using all kinds of spectacular sites here in Launceston. The talent is extreme. We've got a lot of great international artists such as Flying Lotus, Ludovico Einaudi, Amanda Palmer.
And Aussie folk legend Paul Kelly will be a headline act. While Thinking Man was centre stage in Cataract Gorge last time, a new, unique performance will take pride of place this time around.
We're doing a gigantic play called King Ubu in the Gorge. This play is a giant puppet show using Terrapin Puppet Theatre.
The festival is known for its unusual and quirky acts, and performers agree it allows them to push the boundaries.
There's always a sense that you can push things a bit further, and I think there's always like a fresh audience in Tassie, which I really like. Like I always get, whenever I perform down here, I get a really genuine, fantastic response.
The state government kicking in $1.75 million as part of a plan to boost tourist numbers and the local economy.
We're seeing the economic benefits of events like this and what they bring to northern Tasmania, but we also see the social benefits of having such exciting events coming to our regions.
Tickets will be on sale from Monday, with the event running in mid-January. Elizabeth O'Neill, 7 Tasmania News.
One of Australia's and arguably the world's greatest swimmers has visited the state to inspire young Tasmanians. 5-time Olympic gold medalist Ian Thorpe giving some lessons to local students on how they can achieve their goals.
When Ian Thorpe was a teenager, he was one of Australia's pin-up athletes for the Sydney Olympics. Today, the swimmer was back at school, inspiring Tasmania's next generation.
Teaching people, what to do, how you prepare, what you do when it comes to being under pressure and being able to deliver to get the result that you want.
He visited Taroona High as part of the Olympians Unleashed program. It brings athletes into schools across the country, giving them insight on what it takes to succeed.
Weren't many Olympians doing these kinds of things back then, so this is kind of a new concept for us, and what we've found is it's important.
Students listened as he spoke about his ups and downs, also getting a chance to ask questions. He says young people need to feel comfortable and confident.
To believe in what you can create. That's the foundation, and then it's working diligently.
And he's found a new generation of Tasmanian fans, even though many in the room were born after his last Olympic appearance.
I think it's inspiring for everyone, because everyone has an opportunity to then see how they can reach their goals and that something is possible.
He showed that anyone can have a passion, even if it's not something that you pick up at a really young age, and that with those passions you can create dreams.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
The Hobart suburb of Clarendon Vale has served as a creepy backdrop for a new short horror film created by a young emerging filmmaker from the area. The 15-minute piece, shot in different spots around the neighbourhood, is part of a new Aboriginal series named Dark Place.
Mine's a bit more of a social kind of thriller horror film, and one of them's a bit more of a psychological thriller, and another one's a comedy horror. It's got a mixed bag for everyone. It's going to be laughs and scares.
Vale Light and other spooky films premiere tonight at Village Cinemas in Hobart. 250 Tasmanians have been testing their brain power for the inaugural Mind Games Race for Research. 50 teams from businesses across the state competing in 10 challenges at Macquarie Point, including life-size games of operation and snakes and ladders. They were judged on teamwork, creativity and communication. The event raised more than $50,000 for the Menzies Institute to be used for research into mental health and wellbeing.
Half centuries from Alex Doolin and Bo Webster have seen the Tasmanian Tigers off to a solid start in the opening day of their Sheffield Shield clash against New South Wales. A short time ago, the side was sitting at 6 for 258 at stumps.
After a slow few overs of play, Jordan Silk stepped things up a notch, with fellow opener Alex Doolin eventually finding his rhythm at the crease, even belting a 6 for the visitors, a sight rarely seen in Shield cricket. The batsman notching up his 50 after 92 balls to see the Tigers sitting pretty. Silk wouldn't be outdone as he edged towards his own half-ton with some heavy hitting. But it wasn't to be, as Sean Abbott denied him the milestone, just 9 runs shy of it. Abbott soon had his second victim of the day, ending Doolin's innings after a 58-run stand. Bo Webster proving his worth at the top of the Tigers' order with some clinical work with the bat, as Matthew Wade set about sending a message to national selectors ahead of summer before Mitchell Starc made the Aussie batsman his first scalp of the day. But Webster wasn't going anywhere, notching up his 50 after a slow and steady effort with the bat. His day brought to a close 15 runs later, but not after helping to put the Tigers in a favourable position on the scoreboard.
And finally in sport, it's been a day to remember for Dominic College, where the school crowned the inaugural winners of the Tasmanian Netball Tasmania High School Cup. The side took on Mount Carmel in the state final at the Silverdome this afternoon in a tight battle, with Dominic getting up by just 5 goals following a tense final quarter of play. Joe, hopefully the coach shouted them some McDonald's on the way home, since they're not quite old enough for champagne just yet.
No, still McFlurry time for them. Thank you very much for that, Tom.
Good evening. I think we all felt the presence of a cold front today as the cloud built up and the showers swept through. Hobart 19 degrees, Launceston, Burnie and Devonport all 14 today. 20 the top at Bushy Park and Campania, Friendly Beaches 19, Grove and Ooze 18 degrees, Smithton 16, St Helens and the Islands 15, Strawn 14 degrees. Now, here's the cloud. As it developed today, right across the state, sweeping in, that cold front brought about 13 millimetres to 3 p.m. at Mount Reid and 8 millimetres at Mount Barrow. A cold air mass sits over the Bight with its recognisable cloud pattern. Thunderstorm clouds over central Australia. Onshore winds has cloud over the southern coast of the mainland. Another patch over inland Queensland. Tomorrow, a strong cold front pushes over New South Wales. Numerous lows and troughs over northern areas. A high moves over Western Australia. A trough on our doorstep. Westerly winds at 20 to 30 knots, but up to 35 knots over the south. Winds over the east tending northwesterly later. Swells up to 5.5 metres in western waters. Gale warning has been issued for waters between Tasman Island and Low Rocky Point. A strong wind warning for all remaining coastal waters and for the inland lakes. We also have a bushwalkers alert for Western and Central Plateau districts. A warning to sheep graziers for all of Tasmania. Saturday for Hobart, a shower or two, 6 overnight, 14 the high, just 10 for Medina, showery, a shower or two for Oatlands and 11 the top. Launceston, a high of 15 degrees with a shower or two, becoming windy for Devonport as well as a shower and 13. -2 overnight for Lyowini, 7 the top. 13 for Burnie with a shower or two, 13 also for Strawn, 13 for Marrawar, showers and wind. And for the east tomorrow, St Helens, a top of 15, partly cloudy, 15 also for Swansea and Orford. On Sunday, showers over the west and far south, easing in the evening, mainly fine elsewhere, gusty westerly winds. Fine on Monday apart from easing showers over the west with fresh west to southwesterlies. Another possible shower over the west on Tuesday, but fine, sunny and warming up to the 20s for other areas. 32 and sunny in Perth, partly cloudy in Adelaide, showers for Melbourne, sunny and 28 in Sydney, a shower or two for Brisbane. Bit of cloud over Hobart, 11 degrees, 11 right now in Launceston. Plenty of cloud about as well, and same in Devonport with 11 degrees. Joe, appreciate the rain, but the weekend's going to be a bit muddly with showers over many areas.
All right, thank you very much for that, Murph. That's all from the team for now. Have a lovely evening and we'll see you a bit later with updates. Bye-bye.